Los Angeles has had 2 years of record rainfall. It hasn't rained this much year to year since the 1800s. Well, guess what? All the rain just washes into the ocean.
Hey everybody, very quick disclaimer. The point of this video is not to poke fun at the tragedy happening in California right now, specifically these LA fires and the surrounding areas. The point of this video is to show you guys the arguments and to create a discussion on whether or not this could have been prevented. Are we taking the right steps? Is all of this just a complete failure? I'll let you guys decide down in the comments below. Now, the fires are still raging on. A lot of the fires have not been contained, so as you watch this video, there might be a lot more updates, so make sure you're following, liking the video so you can get those updates. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Acts on real people's lives.
And they signal priorities, because also in California, you might have recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have.
And super quick, so you guys have the context, right now the head of the LA Fire Department, she put in her bio, and she's always been very public about wanting to be DEI positive, make sure we have an all-inclusive fire department, and a lot of conservatives are pointing this out as, is that your #1 priority, or having the best people for the job? Just so you know, this is the context of this argument.
And yet, I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters
you
are?
can respond, and then
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified.
Now look, my job is not to push a narrative on this channel. My job is to give you guys the full story. Here is a clip that Scott Jennings, I'm sure, has seen. It's going viral in the conservative communities as to why there seems to be issues and pushback with the leadership of the LA Fire Department.
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now.
Okay, now this next topic, believe it or not, I think Republicans and Democrats can all get on board. Why was the LA Fire Department's budget cut? I'm going to let Scott Jennings from CNN talk about this, and I'm sure a lot of you have your own opinions about this. Leave it down in the comments below.
Local leadership, she was in Africa when this was going on and then had to scramble back. They did cut money from the fire department in Los Angeles.
They cut about $17 million. But I just want to know.
And people have questions about why that is. It's not, it's not politicizing things to raise public policy questions when this devastation occurs.
Can I tell you that I agree with you, that I think Democrats have got to do a better job of pushing back, not just by saying, oh, let's look at what's really happening right now, but going directly after some of the inconsistencies that you're saying. You're talking about how local government has problems. State government is where you want to push all of these resources into, and them being the ones that are going to be solving these problems.
And look, I think these are all legitimate questions without being disrespectful, especially in a situation right now that's terrible. But if California has a wildfire issue in general, if there's ever one budget that you're never going to cut or touch, it's probably the fire department. So that is something right now that people are really upset about, not only with conservatives, but a ton of Democrats. Now, we're going to Fox News, where this is probably one of the larger talking points as well. Where is the water?
Why isn't there any water coming out of the fire hydrants? Los Angeles has had 2 years of record rainfall. It hasn't rained this much year to year since the 1800s. Well, guess what? All the rain just washes into the ocean. A decade ago, California voted to spend billions on water storage and reservoirs. Today, Governor Newsom hasn't finished building a single one. They've done nothing to store water in a decade. Trump was just in California this fall and told Gavin he needed to get it together.
Okay, so real quick, because there's a lot of confusion around this talking point. You have one side of the coin saying, look, this is some of the most rainfall we've ever seen in California's history. But then you also have the argument of, well, there's also been a very long drought leading up to this fire. Now, I also have videos for you later in this video where firefighters have experienced issues with the fire hydrants and some firefighters who have not had any issues at all. Again, this is why this whole story is a tragedy. There's a lot of confusion going on, but I'm going to do my best to show you guys all of the clips.
You have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed, and you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle, because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, you know, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used to, as water, what they call water flow, where the where the land would be damp, and you'd stop many of these horrible fires.
So look, this is one of these situations where a lot of Americans don't live in California, but every American basically knows that there's always a wildfire issue in California, and there always seems to be a lot of confusion as to the mass scale of these fires. But what exactly is going on with this water issue? I think it's all getting exposed today, and a lot of people have questions. Now, the questions of the fire hydrants. I'm going to play you guys 2 separate clips, and then we will talk about it.
Many fire hydrants, we're told, in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles have actually gone dry. What is the situation like right now? Do you have adequate supplies of water to fight this fire?
Yeah, I've been up in that area since about 3 this morning. I've seen no sign of water deficit up there. There's been water coming out of all the hoses that I've seen just by driving through. Again, I haven't heard any news of that on myself.
We saw an apartment building engulfed in flames. I saw the fire engine pull up this afternoon, a fire captain have one of his firefighters attach a hose to a hydrant, and that hose didn't fill up, Alex. And I asked the captain, out of every 10 hydrants you attach to today, on average, how many are you getting full water from? He says little to none.
Now, from the information I'm seeing, I think there are way more firefighters having issues than firefighters not having issues. That's from what I'm seeing. Let me know if you're seeing anything different. Nonetheless, we want these firefighters to succeed. Even though I cannot stand the leadership of California, specifically LA and that whole Hollywood elitist thing, I want the firefighters to do well. Now, this next clip is actually very shameful from CNN. It's Anderson Cooper trying to politicize this entire situation in the middle of a blaze.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, it's people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't.
I don't think this clip gets enough attention. Again, I cannot believe how disgusting it is to politicize a moment when somebody's house is literally burning down in the background. Ridiculous from CNN, and we know what they're doing. They're trying to politicize the situation. However, what Anderson Cooper is referring to is this clip where Donald Trump made a comment about this and said, "I told you, Gavin, to try and fix the situation before it got too bad."
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that.
Now, the other side of the argument is the whole environmental aspect, how this is all because of climate change, and due to the climate change, this is why we're having issues. I'm going to play this clip from CNN, and again, leave your comments down below how you feel about all of this.
There is a lot of federal oversight and bureaucracy that sometimes makes resources very difficult for individuals and communities to have. particularly after disasters occur. I've seen it in my own district in the Virgin Islands. But I think that what we're seeing here is also climate change, right? Because there has been no water, there's been no rainfall in Southern California since May. They've had 0.1% of inches of rainfall in California since May.
Okay, so now another big talking point is the mayor of LA. I have a few clips for you. These clips are circulating right now, and a lot of people are saying, how could this be our mayor? This is why our leadership is failing. Again, I'm going to play these clips.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this.
Okay, so that clip is going mega viral. The fact that the mayor was trying to give a website to help helpless people, and she said the website name is URL. That is a big problem, and we know how this affects candidates and politicians. Just ask Joe Biden what happened when he went on national television and sounded incoherent. He lost a ton of votes. He lost his spot at trying to run for the president, and that's why Kamala Harris ended up being the next pick. Now, this next clip also is going pretty viral on the mayor of LA.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, Boss? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
I don't have all the facts on this, but I think in American history, Americans prefer somebody who's confident, answers the questions, and faces trials and tribulation, and we are just simply not seeing it right now with the mayor. And look, I know her hands are tied behind her back. She's not a firefighter. She doesn't have that much control over the fire department, but it's the policies put in place to ensure that things like this doesn't happen. And if you are still watching this video, I really appreciate it. Ultimately, Donald Trump is now calling for the resignation of Gavin Newsom. So let me know what you guys think down below. I think this entire situation is devastating, and I really hope people are not poking fun or hating on the actual firefighters who are risking their lives. We shouldn't be going after them. I think a majority of people are just calling out the obvious inconsistencies with the leadership who are controlling the situation. So yeah, we'll see you guys later.